Practice 4 is down. Thank you guys for coming back again. Again, practice 4 is down. Really liked our energy today, our tempo, our intensity. Came out and got some good work done. And team continues to work extremely hard. Still learning how to practice, and got a long way to go in terms of our execution. But like their attitude and like their effort and their coachability right now. So with that, if you have any questions, feel free to fire away.
Chris, are you scrimmaging Saturday, and if so, how important is that towards building your first Rutgers depth chart?
Yeah, we are going to scrimmage Saturday. It'll be our first opportunity to scrimmage. It is an important day. Every day is an important day right now because everything we do, the players are getting evaluated. The difference about Saturday, though, is we're going to find out who can actually finish plays. It's one thing to be able to get in the right position and tag off the way that we are in certain drills. It's another to be able to pull the trigger and finish, or to be able to put your foot in the ground and make somebody miss like we're hoping to see on Saturday.
Coach, what can you tell us about the quarterback competition so far?
Still a competition. And every single day they're getting evaluated. Each guy is showing their strengths and weaknesses as we continue to move forward. I think all of them have a pretty good command of the offense, good idea about what the expectations are on each play and how to take care of the football. But it's an ongoing competition, and so I think Saturday with a live scrimmage, we're not going to make the quarterbacks live, but a live scrimmage will tell us a lot more about them too.
Coach, President Barchi was at practice today. What did it mean to you to have him there, and what was his message to the team?
Well, it meant a lot to have him there. Anytime you can get the support of the university president for the football program, I think that means a lot. His message was simple, how important the football team is to the university, and not just in wins and losses, but how you do in the classroom, how you do socially, and the decisions that you make. But it was nice to be able to have him come out, address the football team, and talk about his support for our players.
Coach, you've been practicing in a bubble. What's your philosophy about inside the bubble and going outside?
Well, we're practicing in the mornings, and as you know, the weather's so unpredictable right now. I want to make sure that we're getting good practices with our equipment set up. It's hard to make a decision to say, hey, we're going to go outside and the weather changes, or it's not quite what we want to transition into the bubble. So it's just easier for everybody to go into the bubble right now, unless we know for a fact that it's going to be nice weather outside. Today, the temperature was pretty good. It was kind of windy for us to go outside. There will be some moments here this spring, later in the spring, that we will get an opportunity to go out and throw in the wind and be out in the elements a little bit, but we're not ready for that yet.
Chris, saw that you got a nutritionist on board. Just can you give a little background on that hire and how important that position is?
Well, Allison came and she started this week. She came to us from Houston. It was an important position in terms of what we wanted to do with our players, with nutrition and hydration and just the education part of taking care of their bodies. And she was down there at Houston with Coach Tom Herman, a guy that's running a program very similar to what we're doing here. And just worked out well that she was able to come and interview. We interviewed several people. She was by far and away the most prepared, the most knowledgeable, and the best fit for what we wanted to do with our players. And we're extremely excited to have her. And I think she'll make a big impact on our players.
Chris, Juwan Harris, he's been at a couple practices. How involved is he, and can you even put him in your plans at wide receiver without really seeing him on the field?
No, it's going to be hard to put him in our plans right now until we get a chance to see him full-time with us. He has been on and off. I mean, right now he is a baseball player, and that was an agreement that we had that I'm okay with him going and playing baseball as long as he can contribute to the team and help the team be successful, and I think he's been able to do that. And when he gets a chance, he'll come over and work out with us, but right now he is a full-time baseball player. And from the little bit that I have seen about him, I'm really excited about what he can potentially do in our offense.
Chris, through 4 practices, anyone that's really stood out to you or anyone that surprised you so far?
There's several players that have stood out. It's more about position groups that have probably stood out up front on both sides of the ball. Starting with the D-line, I've been very excited about our defensive line. I think it's probably right now the strength of our football team. We've probably got more playmakers back there, more experience, more leadership. Offensive line is coming along. They've really changed their bodies here this offseason. They've leaned up. They've gotten stronger. They're getting used to the tempo of the no-huddle offense and really been impressed with the way that they've worked. And after 4 practices, the progress that they've made. I like our wide receivers right now. They're working extremely hard. They're making some great plays on the ball. They're running good routes. They have a great understanding of our offense. Those are probably the positions that have really stood out to me without calling out any individuals, but those position groups have stood out.
Coach, as spring practices move along, do you raise the level of intensity? Is it the same? I guess what are your expectations from here on out with practice?
Well, the standard that we've set for practice in terms of the intensity, the emotion, the tempo, that won't change. It's not going to gradually increase and get better or get higher. We want to practice at a high level right now. The thing that needs to happen as we go through spring practice is better execution. Our players play or practice right now with great energy. Again, today we had energy, had tempo, had intensity in a lot of the drills. It's the execution that has to get better. And we're not overly concerned about that right now today. We get through 15 practices. The execution better be a lot better. But if you just have energy and tempo without execution, you don't have a whole lot. If you have just a little bit of execution and not much energy and tempo and intensity, you don't have much. You got to have them all together, and that's really what we're striving to get to as spring goes on.
Chris, from a left tackle point of view, obviously that's a position that's open. What made you move Tariq Cole from inside to outside, and what have you seen from him?
Well, it starts with what we want to see in that position. The left tackle is a very important position on the offensive line to be able to protect the quarterback. We wanted a guy that's got some athletic ability, and based on what we had seen in off-season workouts, he showed the ability to move his feet and be able to hopefully protect the quarterback from his blind side there. He's changed his body. He works extremely hard. He's got tremendous athletic ability with where he's at right now with his body weight. I believe he was at one point about 340 and he's about 310 right now. So he's completely changed himself physically. But we just really like his feet. We like his intelligence and like what he can do in our offensive system there at the left tackle position.
Chris, I noticed a couple players had monitors on their chest. I think it's called Zephyr.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just talk about what you get out of that?
We get a chance to measure a number of things with those Zephyrs, their heart rate, how far they've run during the course of a practice. And we get a chance to look at the end of the day, some of those numbers that we get and make decisions. Do we need to back off somebody that maybe had got a high volume of reps or miles during the course of a practice? We also get a chance to see who may not be going very hard during the course of practice because it's going to measure their effort too and their maximum speed on the field. So there's a lot of things. I'm not a Zephyr expert. I know they give us some valuable information, and then it's a matter of what we do with that information to make some decisions on certain individuals at practice. What we're doing here to build our team is we're combining some sports science with some old school traditional ways of building toughness and discipline in your football team. The Zephyrs aren't going to necessarily tell us how to practice, but they're going to give us some information that may tell us that we need to alter certain individuals.
And how many players are wearing them, just roughly?
Yeah, I think we're probably about 15 to 20, depending on the day.
We'll take two more questions. Have you seen, been excited about the running back group, what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I'll get a lot more excited when I see what they do in a scrimmage. Right now they're not having a lot of contact, a little bit of contact now that we've gotten shoulder pads on and we've gotten full pads on. But I'm going to reserve my judgment until I see them in full contact live scrimmages to see about their ball security, their ability to either run through a tackle or make a guy miss. I do like their work habits, and I like their skill set and the way it fits into our offense. But I'll reserve judgment on saying that they're pretty good or not until we scrimmage on Saturday.
Chris, saw that you're appearing at the Temple Coaches Clinic. That
Mm-hmm.
just seemed a little interesting. Just how did that come about?
Coach Rule gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to come. It's about it. And he's done a great job down at Temple. And honestly, I've told him this when I was at Ohio State and we're getting ready to play Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. One of the opponents that we watched against Notre Dame was Temple. And I was really impressed with the way that their players played. They played hard. They were tough. They looked well coached. And then I looked at their roster, and I see where the majority of all their players are from. They're from, this area, between New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I think there were 80-some players on their roster from that area, and that was kind of inspiring for me to think about the way I watched them play on film. If we could build a team like that here, I'd be pretty happy and pretty excited about it. And I've told Matt that. And I think it's great for this area if the two programs get a chance to work together. I think he's got an outstanding product that coaches and players would want to be a part of, and I think we're going to build an outstanding product that coaches and players are going to want to be a part of, and I think we can do a great job of promoting the game of football in this region if we work together.
It seems like there'd be a little more competitive nature though for you.
Yeah, there is to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, we're in the Big Ten, they're in the American Conference, and are they competition? Yeah, they are, but they're really not. They shouldn't be. I mean, if we're going to recruit the type of players that we want here, we have to recruit at a higher level. They've done an outstanding job. They get some players that people probably look at and say, how did they get them? It's because they built a nice program. They do a good job of recruiting. They build good relationships. Same type of thing that we want to do here at Rutgers. And again, I look at them as an example of a program that we want to try to model ourselves after based on what they have done here recently. And I appreciate the opportunity that he's given me to go down and talk about our program there. And, there's hopefully some things that we'll work together on in the future too.
Yeah, Haas gave me one more. Najee Clayton, he talked about getting cut up. So Darren Lee, how important is it? Same position, obviously hybrid position. How important is it for him to digest that?
Well, I think Darren Lee's a tremendous football player. He's a very talented player. He's a physical player, and he plays the game of football like we want our players to play. And I think it's always important when you try to show up or, you try to coach a player to do a certain thing, but then when they can watch it being done from somebody else, I think that just reinforces what you're trying to coach. I think it's always good to be able to watch film of yourself and see what you look like, but then go watch somebody who's considered one of the best in the game at his position and compare the similarities or the differences. And I think we try to do that with as many players as we can. We'll use Ohio State as an example. Obviously, everybody knows there were a lot of talented players there this past season on defense, and we'll use a lot of those guys as examples on how we want the game to be played on defense. We're doing the same thing on offense because our offense is very similar also, but we'll use NFL players, we'll use other college players as examples to show them how to run to the ball, how to use their hands, how to tackle, how to finish things, and it's just reinforcing visually the things that we're trying to coach them. Great, thank you guys.